KREM2 News begins now.
It's been a busy news week in Spokane and the rest of the inland Northwest. Thank you for joining us here on KREM2 Plus for Week in Review. I'm Tim Pham. Here now is a look at some of the biggest news stories from this past week.
We knew something was up. She was seen one time, I think, moving in. We never saw her, ever, and we were always so worried.
Megan Rice has lived in Airway Heights for years. She lived one building over from where 8-year-old Mila Miller lived, but was rarely ever seen.
Could be used against you as evidence.
Mandy Miller and her boyfriend, Alexander Komoyarov, are now both sitting in the Spokane County Jail facing murder charges. Miller is the sister of the girl's biological mom and has been her legal guardian for almost 7 years. Police say the two drove from Airway Heights to Mitchell, South Dakota in mid-December with a U-Haul trailer.
They acted really weird. They went and closed the U-Haul door, walked back inside, and they were seen putting a whole bunch of black bags in the U-Haul.
Court documents say they showed up at a funeral home with a coffin, and inside were the remains of a child. Authorities say it was immediately clear she had died under suspicious circumstances. They said Mila looked small and malnourished for her age, and they noted powdered laundry detergent surrounding the coffin and bedding to mask the odor. They also said when Mandy and Alexander were told they could not bury the girl without an autopsy and proper documentation, they both got very nervous. During that police interview, adoptive mom Mandy told authorities that Mila had died back on September 10th after choking on a strawberry milkshake. She told police they didn't call 911 because they said it would take too long for the ambulance to arrive. But when police interviewed Alexander, records show he never mentioned anything about the little girl choking, only saying that she was sick. Investigators also noted that he kept changing his story about Mila's death. Court documents also show Alexander admitted to slapping the child twice the day she died and also tied her up in a bathrobe like a straitjacket for 4 to 6 hours a day. He also told authorities when the little girl would misbehave, Mandy would hit the child's toes with a hammer.
There's probably not a worse death that could have been inflicted on a child.
Craig Mason is a family law attorney in Spokane. He says this is one of the worst cases of child abuse he's ever heard.
Why would men have short hair like this?
A lot of people said that they couldn't imagine how a little girl could slip through so many cracks.
I actually thought that too until I read the affidavit of probable cause, and then I could see how she slipped through every crack.
Really?
Yes, because she was essentially isolated, and these particular behaviors perfectly fit what the system doesn't respond well to.
We know on multiple occasions, neighbors and school counselors tried to get help. This body cam footage, obtained exclusively by KREM2, shows Cheney police and a school counselor trying to knock on the family's door to check on Mila. She hadn't been to school in months. This was in March of last year, before the family moved to Airway Heights.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you know if your neighbors are home? Have you seen this little girl? She's supposed to live here.
No.
All right, thank you for your help.
But because no one answered the door that day, police and the advocate simply left.
Officers were at the door multiple times and they just didn't answer the door. That's where it ends. Is that because they just don't have enough then to force them to come to the door?
They don't have enough of an excuse to break down the door.
We did reach out to Child Protective Services, but we're told they did not have an open case with the family within the last year, so they were not actively monitoring Mila. But we found police records of at least a dozen calls from concerned neighbors and school employees to Cheney Police, Airway Heights, and CPS. And according to this police report, CPS told officers they would not be responding, but requested that officers do a welfare check on the child in August of 2022. She hadn't been seen in months. When police responded, documents state the officer was allowed into the family's apartment, where he saw the child breathing and sleeping under a pile of blankets. At the time, Mandy reportedly told police she was homeschooling Mila, and because she worked at night, she said the two typically slept during the day.
He's given a plausible explanation why the child is asleep during the day. He sees her breathing normally. She's probably under a blanket or two, so he doesn't see she's malnourished. It looks normal.
It's just as easy as that?
Well, it's brutally true, yes.
While Mila's death was never reported to police, Miller and Kromoyorov claimed the child died on September 10th.
Do you think the system failed here?
You know, I think that about all we could do is ramp up the expectation of how thoroughly we'll check a child.
KREM 2 also reached out to Airway Heights Police, but were told they could not comment since it is still an active investigation. But the department did send us this statement saying, in part, with our limited resources and significant help from the Spokane County Sheriff's Office, we are working diligently to hold these people we believe are responsible accountable based on our ongoing investigation.
You said that this case in particular revealed a lot of cracks in multiple different systems. Do you think it reveals that this could happen again with other children slipping through the cracks in some of these same ways?
Yes. If they have no other relative who's keeping an eye on them, but this is just one where Mila slid by. I was expecting to find a bad guy, and I think it was just that cold evil of the parents, and the few little gaps in the system was just a catastrophe for Mila.
In her announcement for Spokane mayor this morning, Lisa Brown already had strong criticisms for her opponent, Mayor Nadine Woodward. Just a few hours after that announcement this morning, Woodward took the opportunity to address them here at the offices of her supporter.
Let's create a great Spokane together.
Lisa Brown launched her campaign for Spokane mayor with a spotlight on a few different issues. She says her top priorities as mayor would include community safety, crime, and housing.
The temporary deregulation and single-family zoning is an excellent start, but we have to build on that at the local and regional level, set targets, make a plan to achieve them, and take advantage of every incentive and program that the state has to offer.
She decided to run for mayor because she claims the progress in Spokane has stalled under Mayor Nadine Woodward's administration.
The mayor ran 4 years ago on two issues, homelessness and crime downtown. We haven't made significant progress on those issues, and I think people are ready for a change.
This afternoon, Woodward responded to this criticism by discussing the accomplishments of her administration, including moving police precincts into neighborhoods and putting more officers on the streets with a new staffing model.
Also on the housing front, my administration has doubled the amount of shelter beds in our regional shelter system, and just opened at the end of last year, TRAC, the Trent Resource and Assistance Center.
Brown ran for Washington's 8th congressional district in 2018, but she was defeated by incumbent Congresswoman Kathy McMorris Rogers. Brown told me she's stepped down from her state job to run for mayor because she wants to be closer to home and build a better community for her grandson.
We're already seeing social media posts from Woodward's campaign criticizing Brown's voting record. When asked how contentious we could expect this campaign to get, Woodward said, "We'll see." Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
We had quite the morning with about 6-7 inches falling in the Spokane area between about midnight and around 9 this morning. It was an unexpected way for a lot of people to wake up.
It was a rude awakening for the inland Northwest Tuesday.
Well, I was expecting a lot less than this, just a little more work.
Around 7 inches fell in the Spokane area, leaving people like Benjamin Robotham to pull the snowblower out of storage.
You know, it was tucked in the far back part of my garage, so it was away, and I wasn't expecting to pull it out. So
winter's far from over, and so is the work it brings.
Crews have been out since about 4 o'clock last night, pre-treating roadways. And then once the snow started to fall, they've been out all night and throughout the morning.
WashDOT plows dealt with icy conditions that left a backup on I-90 after a city bus slid out and blocked all lanes. Spokane launched a full city plow late Tuesday morning.
This isn't the light snow, fluffy snow that just kind of flies off the side of the plow. This is some thicker, heavier stuff.
That heavy snow also downed some power lines and caused major outages, with around 600 of Vista customers powerless to start the morning. February may be over.
I was really surprised. I looked out the window and I was expecting an inch, and this is what I get.
But it's not going quietly.
I just deal with it. It's like I said, it's usual, you know, Spokane, Pacific Northwest, you know, we're used to it, so.
Now, luckily, as you can see behind me, most of these main roads and arterials, with all the traffic throughout the day, that's broken up more of that compact snow. So these are pretty clear. Some of the side streets, like the one right in front of me, are a little bit slushy and have a little bit more of that hard compact ice or snow. And again, we are dipping down into pretty low temperatures from tonight into tomorrow morning. So just something to think about and be careful out there. In Spokane, Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
Tonight marks the end of an era in GU basketball. Drew Timme will be taking to the Kennel for his final home game here tonight. I spoke with fans ahead of the game tonight to talk about the GU All-Stars' mark on the program and his future beyond Gonzaga.
Drew, we love you. Thank you for the past 4 years. Done a great job in repping the school, and excited to see you play.
Drew Timme says he's officially ready for a career beyond the Kennel. From the first time he took the court to his last, basketball fans will remember Drew Timme for his gameplay and his other notable signatures.
And I think he knows what that means.
Tuesday, Drew Timme announced he would not be coming back to GU for his final year of eligibility. So tonight's final home game will mark the end of an era. But fans say they're excited for his next steps.
It's going to be sad, but it's great to see what he's done for the program. Excited to see his last game in the Kennel.
Really good dude, so love him. Glad he's happy to be a Zag, and we're really proud of him.
Timme has spent 4 years donning a Bulldogs jersey. Fans say every game in the Kennel is a game to watch. And tonight, fans aren't expecting anything different.
It's crazy because he started when we were freshmen, so we've never had like Gonzaga games without Drew Timme.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a different Gonzaga without him, but he's gonna put Chicago State in the spin cycle tonight.
Even though tonight is his last time playing in the Kennel, fans say Timme's time isn't up yet. There's still work to do.
We're all behind them. We want to see them make a deep run March and win the WCC, obviously.
Hopefully this last year we can get both the West Coast Conference Tournament champion and the March Madness ship. So.
But until that, here's to the last time Drew Timme gets to hear
Go Zags!
As a Gonzaga basketball player playing in the Kennel. And any fan of Gonzaga basketball knows that Drew Timme is walking away from his time as a Zag with the most baskets in Gonzaga history. From the Kennel, Janelle Finch, KREM 2 News.
Drew Timme runs the floor.
It really is just Drew. I mean, honestly, like, this is just who he is. He's silly like that.
I spoke with your mom today. She said if you make it to the Sweet 16, you have to shave your mustache. Did you know that?
I did not. This is news to me, but you know what? I think after this game, she'll be okay if I keep it.
I'm an energy bringer. I like to get the fans in the game and get the place rocking.
That's that move. I wonder why he did that. That's a tribute to his stash.
He's Drew Timme, so why wouldn't I want to see him?
Timme.
Man, it feels good to go to the Sweet 16. As long as we win, that puts a smile on my face. Go out with no regrets. As long as you put your all into something, you go down swinging, and you put your full and heart into something, then at the end of the day, you can live with the results. I feel like we're the best team in the country, and I'm gonna stand by that for as long as I live.
Late tonight, Spokane City Council members voting to update rental housing regulations. The ordinance was created to streamline the process for getting people into housing. The city will provide universal background checks at no cost to landlords, but they'll be required to obtain a business license and provide the city a list of their units, the price of rent, and whether or not those units are occupied. Many renters asked council members to approve the ordinance, while dozens of property owners testified against the proposal, claiming it would be ineffective, and warned that more regulations could cause landlords to sell their properties or raise rent. Moments after council members passed the ordinance, Mayor Nadine Woodward sent out a statement opposing the new regulations and says she's worried tenants will ultimately pay the price. In Spokane, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
5 pages in unsealed Pennsylvania search warrants reveal more than 70 items were collected from Brian Kohberger's property.
As investigators, we're looking for anything that can tie him to the scene of the crime.
Criminology expert Chris Bertram says on paper, most of the items don't catch his attention.
There seems like there are items that may have minimal value to us.
But he says investigators likely took more than what they needed, because you never know what may lead to a break in the investigation. Police collected 3 different knives, including a pocket knife and a tailor cutlery knife.
I carry a pocket knife every day. You know that, maybe out of habit, just having a pocket knife on you. The pocket knife may or may not be involved. There are other things that may or may not be involved.
They also took a laptop, cell phone, and other electronics.
Computers are a vast amount of information as to what's stored on there, what's been researched on there.
Other items collected included a letter from the suspect to his father, criminology books, a gun, and clothing from the suspect's Pennsylvania home. But Bertram says the items found in the suspect's car were the ones that caught his eye.
If that vehicle was used, which we believe it was, may have been, used to transport him over to the scene, there is a possibility that there may be trace evidence that was left.
Investigators also found a comfort in-room key holder, a shovel, goggles, and a reflective vest in the car. These documents add to the first set of search warrants that were unsealed Tuesday. Those documents showed police collected a silver flashlight, additional clothing, a pair of black and white size 13 Nike shoes, and a DNA swab from the inside of Kohberger's cheek.
The University of Idaho's request for $1 million in funding for extra security costs was approved unanimously by the state's budget committee. It's a one-time supplemental funding separate from funds the Idaho governor allocated to the homicide investigation. The Idaho legislature's Joint Finance Appropriations Committee members all agreed the University of Idaho would get its request for $1 million.
The House vote is unanimous.
The supplemental funding would go to the university for services relating to the increased security on campus following the deaths of 4 U of I students. The request listed support from Idaho State Police, a safe shuttle service, increased security, counseling services, and a campus vigil.
Well, I think everybody in the state was horrified that this could happen on one of our university campuses.
Idaho State Senator Jeannie Ward Engelking was one of the Budget Committee's unanimous votes in favor of the funding.
I thought the university did a really nice job of being flexible and trying to provide the right fit for every student and ensure that they felt safe.
Not only did she watch these events unfold as a state lawmaker, she's a grandmother as well. 2 of Senator Ward Engelking's grandchildren attend the U of I.
We were certainly very concerned when the incident happened in Moscow. We were very worried.
The university shared a list of how the $1 million in funding has been used and will be used through the end of the school year in May. Several $100,000 went toward Idaho State Police, their meals and lodging, third-party security, increased campus security, crisis media consultants, and consultants for a review of campus security and policies.
It must have been just devastating to all of them, and yet they stepped up and they took care of our children.
The university's expenditures also include counseling and crisis support provided to students and staff. The The university says the vigil it hosted on campus cost nearly $13,000. A spokesperson with the university told me that amount is typical for large events, drawing in thousands of people. They say the vigil incurred expenses for security personnel and equipment, mental health professionals, and event materials. In the newsroom, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
She was a lively spirit. For being like 5 foot, she had so much energy and spunk.
Tabitha Johnson holds on to the good memories she has of her mom, Debbie Cascio, growing up with 3 siblings on Whidbey Island.
We spent a lot of time at the beach, Deception Pass. That was like our favorite place to go.
But Tabitha says her mom started struggling and could no longer take care of them. Tabitha and her siblings moved to Spokane to live with their dad. Debbie ended up on the streets of Seattle, and soon after, the victim in a violent murder.
We didn't know the circumstances because we were so young.
It was May 2000 when Debbie Cascio's body was found under a freeway overpass in Seattle. Now, nearly 23 years later, a possible break in the case.
It's overwhelming. There's a lot of questions.
Days ago, detectives in Colorado made an arrest in a 1996 murder. Ricky Dawson was extradited from Florida, where he was serving time for a 2001 homicide. He's now accused of killing a 35-year-old woman, and court docs reveal his DNA also matches a DNA profile found in Cascio's murder.
Just brings up a lot of feelings, to be honest, and like what's going to happen next.
Dawson has not yet been charged in Cascio's murder, but Tabitha says his name was floated as a suspect several years ago. But she believes Seattle detectives had been waiting to build a stronger case.
She had a lot of friends and people who cared about her. It's just tough.
Tabitha wants justice for her mom, whose name can be found on a leaf of remembrance outside the Seattle Justice Center.
She'd be very proud of us. We all have a college education, or my brother has a military background, and then we have families, and she would be a grandma to 6 different grandchildren right now.
Nathan Beal killed 2 people in the span of 4 months in 2020. He killed Andrew Bull in a Spokane alley for practice. Then he killed his ex-wife, Mary Schaefer, when she came to pick up their children from his apartment. Now Beal will spend more than 60 years in prison. 2 murders and 2 separate convictions have now landed Nathan Beal in prison for more than 60 years. Beal thought he would get away with killing a homeless man in a Spokane alley 3 years ago. Even during that murder trial in January, he acted as though it would end in his favor. But the jury disagreed and convicted him of murder for a second time, the first being the death of his ex-wife, where he was sentenced to 31 years.
Andrew got the justice, he deserved.
Jenna Lee Bunting and her family attended the sentencing for the man who killed her brother, Andrew Bull. She told the judge Andrew was not just some person living on the streets. He had a family who loved him dearly.
I lost not only my brother, but my best friend. I lost the one who would give me hugs that still to this day we call an Andrew hug.
Meanwhile, Beal maintained his innocence.
The ballistics on this and the previous murder did not match.
Still, the judge sentenced him to 30 years for Andrew's murder, with an additional 5 years for committing the crime with a firearm.
A homeless person is not a piece of garbage you can dispose of with impunity. Andrew Bull was a person.
Leading into the trial, Andrew's mother felt like he was not yet at peace. But today, while donning photos of him at the hearing, Lori now feels they both can finally rest.
But I also feel that he's been with all of us and that he wants us as well to be at peace with it.
2 murders, 2 convictions, and a 60-year sentence. Beal now faces the rest of his life behind bars. Now, for context, the 35-year sentence for the first-degree murder charge relating to Andrew Bull's death is the high end of the sentencing range. Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
The State B tournament has a long history in Spokane, according to WIAA Executive Director Mick Hoffman.
66 years. It's a beautiful venue. It's Hoop Town, USA, so there's a lot of tradition.
But Spokane could soon have some competition when it comes to keeping this tournament. According to tournament officials, costs for the event are rising.
I mean, our costs are just over, north of $200,000 for the facility and the services that come along with it.
According to tournament co-director Dave Ticker, the bid process is already done for next year, so the tournament will stay in Spokane for at least another year, but it's the bid for the next 4 years after that's on the line. So what's Spokane's biggest competition? According to Ticker, it's Yakima, which already has the 1A and 2A state basketball tournament.
Because Yakima has a community that is really together, and they really work strong together, and they have a lot of things that they can give away to bring people in.
Ticker says if the state B tournament were to leave the Lilac City, it'd be a big economic loss. According to the Spokane Sports Commission, the tournament generates upwards of $4.2 million each year. Hoffman says their goal is to keep the tournament in Spokane, but they'll need help from community leaders.
What we want to do is similar to what we do in Yakima, is where we work with those leaders to find a way to help offset those costs.
He hopes to have a plan figured out by June for the board before going to bid. If they manage to pull it off, the tournament's chapter in Spokane will continue.
Beyonce B has been through ups and downs in her 4-year career at the University of Idaho, but this year she has really excelled, becoming one of the top 10 scorers in the nation and setting herself up for a big 5th year in Moscow.
Yeah, so it is official now. I will be coming back for my 5th year. Didn't want to give that up.
And why wouldn't she? B is top 10 in the country at scoring with 22 points per game this season. She's come a long way from her basketball beginnings.
I didn't even really like basketball until I think 5th grade. I actually hated it until then.
That feeling luckily didn't last long as B became Washougal High School's all-time leading scorer and brought the school a state championship her senior year.
That's something that we had worked for so long, and just getting to grow up with some of my teammates who had played club with me as well since like 5th grade. It was just really special to bring that to our hometown.
B has been a productive scorer every year of her college career, but this year she has taken it to a new level with a simple approach.
Going into this season, I just really wanted to be more of a consistent offensive presence for the team. Just really work on being able to create more shots for myself and my teammates. So just adding more moves to my bag, types of things, and then just being more confident with taking shots on the court.
This season felt different right away for B.
Those first couple games in the beginning of the season, when I just really started seeing shots going in and just kind of realized that, yeah, taking my shots, like this is something I can do, this is what I'm capable of, and this has been my goal for the last couple of years.
We sit just 2 weeks away from the Big Sky tournament, and B believes the Vandals can make some noise.
It's anybody's game in the tournament. We've seen teams who are seeded really low win the whole thing. This conference is just really tough, so anybody can win at any point in time, and you just got to be ready to do it.
B and the Vandals will head to Boise on Saturday to begin the Big Sky tournament as they look to make a run at an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament.
We are here today to recognize one student in particular, Nazanin. Come on up. We're here to present Nazanin the University of Washington Presidential Scholarship. And this scholarship is given to only 14 students in the whole state of Washington. So that is a $10,000 scholarship. That is renewable for 4 years. And we hope you join us at UW this upcoming year.
I am in shock. I'm like shaking. My name is Nazanin Malizada. I am a senior at Shadow Park High School, class of 2023. I can't even believe what just happened, in 2 minutes.
It's pretty incredible to think that we've got a student here who's maybe made us better more than we've made them better. I'm Chris Dunham, the principal at Shadow Park High School. When we first reached out to the University of Washington to kind of put her on their radar, I think the subject line in the email was, "This girl's going to change the world." And I sincerely believe that she will.
My goal for the future is to become a cardiothoracic surgeon. I'm really passionate about what I want to do, and I've been really trying hard since I moved to America.
My name is Mohammed Walzada. I'm Nazanin's older brother. I think she's very smart, she's very passionate, she loves to help people.
I want to help people who needs help. I want to go to other countries who actually need health care. One thing I want to say, I'm really proud of myself. And I really appreciate everyone for helping me in this journey.
Thank you for joining us here on KREM 2 Plus for a look at some of the biggest news stories in the past week in Spokane and the rest of the Inland Northwest. For the most up-to-date news throughout the weekend, you can watch our very latest newscast right here on KREM 2 Plus. Just look for them in the bottom navigation menu. I'm Tim Pham. Thanks for watching.